Good evening, guys. My name is Tommy, and welcome to NorthernEar Reactions. Tonight, we're going to do something slightly different. It's coming up to the end of 2020. This channel has been open for 10 months. I think we did our first video in February. And since then, I've made 271 videos, and the channel has gained over 1.1 million views. This channel has been a really big learning curve for me. I've listened to so many great artists, so many fantastic songs, and I thought what would be really nice is if I shared with you my top 10 songs that I've reacted to this year. So that's exactly what I've done. Basically, I've gone through my entire catalogue, every video that I've made, and I have thought to myself very briefly, would they be anywhere near the top 10? And I've included them if it's a yes, and I've discarded them if they were a no. And doing that left me with a short list of about 20 to 25 songs that, instinctively I thought, yeah, they were standout this year. What I wanted to do then was, from those 20 to 25 songs, work out what rank they would be and work out which ones would be in my top 10. So I've actually used a technique called paired comparisons, and it works very similar to a football league, that kind of thing. I've made a spreadsheet, I've put all the songs down the left, all the songs across the top, and I've basically said song A versus song B, which one do I prefer? And let's say song A gets the win, song B gets the loss. Then I would do song A versus song C, which one do I prefer? And basically just done that for every single song. Then I can create a league, if you like, from the songs that have got the most wins. So the songs that I'm about to list off now basically got the most wins when they were paired against each individual other song. Now, just before we start, I want to make one thing very, very clear. Just because I have put a song higher up in the ranking doesn't mean that the song below it is rubbish. Please don't get in the comments section and start giving me abuse because I've not put your song above another song. I'm taking all kinds of things into consideration tonight. The lyrics, the music, the video that I was watching it with, the impact that it had on me, and bear in mind that impact might have been different if it was earlier on in the year when I was in a different state mentally and emotionally myself, and basically just overall the feel that I got and the vibe that I got from the song. Anyway, shall we start with the top 10? Let's go. Right, kicking off at number 10, and this surprised me when I saw it. This is ABBA and their song Like an Angel Passing Through My Room. Stereotypically, I've got Swedish family, so ABBA's quite big over there anyway, especially with the older generation. So I thought I knew them quite well. It turns out that I didn't. I've heard a lot of Mamma Mia and Dancing Queen and Money 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 and Does Your Mother Know, all the kind of big hits. And then you guys brought me onto an album called The Visitors, and it took me back a little bit. I was really intrigued with the song, The Visitors, and I moved around. I think I did The Day Before You Came, and then I hit the ABBA jackpot with Like an Angel Passing Through My Room. I really, really loved the melody in this. I loved the feeling that the song was creating. I liked the message, basically someone at the end of their life, from what it sounded like, looking back over their past life, and those people and those memories were literally like angels passing through the room. And at the time when I heard it, it was a much more difficult phase in my life. So that song had a deeper connection with me and still has a deeper connection with me right now. So yeah, that is our number 10 to kick us off tonight. ABBA, Like an Angel Passing Through My Room. Coming in at number 9 is possibly one of the biggest shocks this year, and I didn't even think it was possible. It was a band called Jinjer and their song Pisces. Now, I remember the shock that I had when I first heard this song. I saw it in the comment section. A lot of people put me onto it. I think it was on the back of Ghost Love Score, and I don't know whether it was the whole female vocalist kind of thing. People started putting me onto Jinjer, and I didn't know what to expect. And when that song first kicked in, It's all quite gentle, but still intricate. And her voice, Tatiana's voice, comes in, and again, it's quite smooth, it's quite bright, it's quite gentle. And then, oh my god, we all know what happens next. She comes out with that. And that moment, that complete transformation in her voice, will stick with me forever. And that is the reason why Jinjer, Pisces, is at number 9. Kicking in at number 8 is my biggest and most popular video that I've made on the channel this year. It was the very first metal song that I'd heard on the channel, and it's probably the one song where I got the message that it was trying to portray right down to a T straight away. And I'm really proud of myself for even getting it, but I don't think I've done that with very many songs, and it was just one of those like really big light bulb moments. And it was great. It's shown me what the capabilities of metal music were from not only a storytelling point of view, but from a musical talent point of view. Later on, I started to see the capabilities from a vocal point of view. And yeah, this is Metallica, Master of Puppets. And what I love about Metallica is their ability to tell a story with the music. So Master of Puppets is all about dependency, it's all about control, and the point of view of the song, the lyrics, is coming from the drug. It's the drug talking to the user, telling them basically, I've got you, there's no escape, come crawling back to me, I'll kill you, but you can't do anything about it because you need me. You need me. And yeah, love it. The song builds tension right up until the peak in the middle of the song, and then the whole song just falls away. And I instantly thought that's either a come down or that is the actual taking of the drug. And yeah, it turns out to be it was the taking of the drug. And then as the song progresses even further, that tension comes back in. The lyrics start to turn again towards needing drugs again, needing this whatever it is. And yeah, absolutely loved it. I was super proud of myself. It is the most popular video on the channel so far, and that is why Metallica, Master of Puppets, is in at number 8. In at number 7, and this might be a little bit of a theme for tonight, it is another Metallica song, and this time it is Fade to Black. And once I got into Metallica, I got some really, really good direction from viewers, subscribers, and they started pushing me in the right direction to listen to some of their biggest songs of what they were capable of doing. And I think I mentioned in the Master of Puppets video that I really enjoy it when Metallica is able to tell a story with the music. They did it with Metallica. They did it with Master of Puppets. I think the next video that I watched was Disposable Heroes, where pretty much the same thing happened again. And then people started to mention Fade to Black. And what I really love about Fade to Black is the the message of the lyrics. It is basically about someone who can't take life anymore, who hasn't got the will to live anymore. And what I think is the biggest part of that song is half of the song doesn't have any lyrics. And I think the final lyric that he says is something like goodbye or I've got to say goodbye. And then after that, the music does the rest of the storytelling. And I think it's about 4 or 5 minutes of music afterwards. And what you hear, by then you've already assumed that the song is about suicide because of the lyrics that he's talking about, or at least depression. Um, but then when he says goodbye, two and two click, and you think, right, okay, this is what he's going to do. And then the music starts to portray that. The music, there's a bass line in there that almost sounds like a heartbeat that increases with tension, to depict the person's emotions rising before he does it. And then what I love about the song is how it just slowly fades out to black, like the name of the song suggests, and how that depicts that person's life slowly escaping from them. And again, just the way that it connected with me, the way that the music told the story, I loved it. And that is why Fade to Black is number 7. Coming in at number 6 is an artist that I've fallen in love with this year. I've only just found her out on this channel. She is a massive artist though, and since I've heard her, I've thought every single song that she's created that I've heard has been absolutely fantastic. She gets a little bit of stick in the Discord, but I think that's just because she doesn't fit with the genre that most of the subscribers like. But it is Billie Eilish and the song When the Party's Over. Now, this song is probably the song where the video connected with me the most. And I remember it vividly. It is a very subdued song. She's got her typical Billie kind of breathy, gentle, fragile voice. And she's starting to talk about what I think was about being in a difficult relationship and basically just wanting out. And to set the scene, she's basically sat in a room, perfectly white jumpsuit, I think she's got on. The whole room is perfectly white. It is pristine, it is untouched. And halfway through the song, she picks up this glass, and the glass has got this thick black liquid in it. And I remember at the time thinking, what is that black liquid? What's she going to do with it? Anyway, next thing she does, she picks up the glass, she necks the whole thing down. Nothing happens. And then there's one moment in the video where she looks up and her eyes connect properly with the viewer, and she suddenly starts crying this black liquid out. And it's coming all down her face, it's coming, and she's trying to smear it off, and it's just going all over the place. It's ruined her perfect white jumpsuit, it's all over the floor. Basically, this white, perfect, untouched, innocent room is now destroyed, spoilt by the poison that is in the black glass. So basically, the song is about living with depression, living with a difficult relationship, just needing to escape. And what I really loved about that is how the images she created in the video perfectly told the story in the lyrics, and the shock factor of seeing that black liquid fall all over her face. If you watch my reaction, I'll stick a link in the description, you'll see my face. It drops, and that will stay with me. Billie Eilish will stay with me. I think she's fantastic, and that was number 6. Coming in at number 5, it's another Metallica song, and this time it is Orion. Now, I think Orion and Call of Cthulhu were the first 2 instrumentals by Metallica that I'd heard. And I'll admit, I was apprehensive to listen to an instrumental at first, because I thought to myself, I don't know whether I'm going to connect with the song. I don't know whether I'm going to understand what's happening. I was still very new to metal, and I thought it was all going to be quite heavy and aggressive and dark, and it just wasn't. Orion was musically a masterpiece. It was amazing. There were so many transitions in the song. I felt like I was travelling. There was a bass solo from Cliff in there. And, there was one part in the middle where I literally thought I was floating through space. That's how good the song was. And again, it's this whole music telling the story of the song. And obviously with an instrumental, there's no other choice than to tell the story of the song with music, because you've got no lyrics to depend on. And I can't help but listen to that and find something that I didn't hear the last time in that song. And I think it's fantastic. And then also the comments come in, and this is why your comments are great, because what you guys do when you come in with comments is you give me context, you give me background stories. And the single biggest piece of information that you gave me was, at the time of writing that song, the band would have been around 19 or 20 years old. And then you think to yourself, how many 19 or 20-year-olds are writing music like that right now? Not many. And I just think it's incredible. When you take that into account, so young, and you listen to all the other songs that they've written, roughly around the same era. I'm not exactly sure of the timelines, but you listen to Fade to Black, you listen to Master of Puppets, you listen to Disposable Heroes, you've got Orion, you've got Call of Cthulhu. They are incredible songwriters. incredible songwriters. And Orion, just for its variety, its technical intricacy, the bass, just the bass on its own is enough. And I was actually quite lucky to catch it because it just sounded a bit thicker than a normal guitar. And I thought, is that bass? It turns out that I think there's a second bass solo towards the end of the song as well that I didn't catch there and then. But now that I've heard it, it does sound obvious that it was. I should have caught it the first time. But yeah, Orion, that is my number 5 song this year. Coming in at number 4 is the very first song that I heard of one of my favourite bands this year, and that is Nightwish, and their song Ghost Love Score. I listened to the live version at Wacken 2013, and this was the very first song that I'd heard, so I didn't have any clue of what I was going to be hearing. And I think up until this point as well, all the metal songs that I'd heard had been guitars, bass, drums. I think this was the first time that I'd heard symphonic metal, and at the time I didn't even know what that was. And I just remember hearing the synths, hearing the operatic sound to Floor's voice, and thinking, yes, this is me. This is more melodic, it's more theatrical, it's more eccentric. The singer's fantastic, and I just fell in love with it straight away. What I really loved about it was the whole different phases that I was taken through listening to that song. And that's the reason why it's called a love score, because it is like sitting and watching a theatrical performance and listening to the soundtrack of the whole thing. And I just thought it was epic. I just thought it was epic, and a really, really good introduction to Floor and her amazing voice. I genuinely think she's one of the best singers around. And what Ghost Love Score did is shown me that she has got lots and lots of texture and very different colours to her voice. And she knows exactly which colours to pick, when to pick them, how to use them to maximise the effect on the song. She is something special. She's fantastic. And the ending of Ghost Love Score is something that I'll remember forever. And that is why Ghost Love Score Live is my number 4 song this year. Now we're at the top 3 songs, and number 3 for me is another Nightwish song, and this time it is Song of Myself. Song of Myself was, I think, the last Nightwish song that I heard, and I think I'd heard maybe about 11 or 12 songs by then, and I thought that I'd heard the most epic of Nightwish songs up until then. But Song of Myself is something incredible. It's a song of two halves, essentially. You've got the whole kind of symphonic, light, synthy sound at the beginning, and the second half of the song kicks in with this really meaty drop that you just can't help but bob your head to, and that gives you the foundations for the rest of the song. Then Floor and Marco come in with their vocals. Floor is again a little bit more operatic, and the thing that gets me with this song is the gaps between the final drum beat right at the very end. And each time they do it, the drum beat just leaves you hanging slightly longer each time, and you're on the edge of your seat thinking, when are they going to finish that bar? And they do it, and each time it's a little bit longer, and then the final one is like a major release, and you're just like, oh my god, what have I just heard? That's incredible. So Song of Myself is my number 3 song. It's my favourite Nightwish song, and Nightwish are probably overall my favourite band this year, and they are in at number 3. We are down to the final 2, and coming in at number 2 is another Metallica song. Yes, this is the 4th Metallica song in my top 10 list, but I've just fallen in love with this band. I've fallen in love with everything that they do musically. I don't think I've heard a bad song by them. I know that you're all going to go and tell me to listen to Saint Anger, but yeah, this one is To Live Is To Die. And yes, it's another instrumental, but I think with this one, the reason why this song stays with me is the time that I heard it. So for those of you that have been with the channel for a while, In September, I did a live stream on the anniversary of Cliff Burton's death, and it was a whole entire night full of interviews that people had had about him, footage of him playing, um, videos of him, videos of his dad sharing his LP collection and things like that. And the final song of the night was "To Live Is to Die," and I just thought it was such a poignant song. It really struck a chord with me, especially on that night, and what it represented. And I think people said that this was Cliff getting a writing credit after he died because of the poem or the verse that's in the middle of it. And I think when you hear that acoustic guitar to start off with, the journey that the song then takes you through, the different ups and downs that are usually involved with Metallica songs anyway, and how it comes back full circle, back to that acoustic guitar at the end, and how it just fades out. I think it's beautifully done, beautifully recorded, fantastically written. And, you know, if you was to ask me maybe 2 or 3 months ago what was my favourite instrumental by Metallica, I probably would have said Orion. But especially recently, I can't help but listen to Live Is To Die, and it has definitely got a stronger connection with me now, and that's why that is at number 2. Right, guys, we are at number 1, and I'm really excited to share this. I'm really excited by this band. They've been the band that I've been exposed to, probably the most recent on this channel. I think the first song that I heard by them was only in November, but the comments that you guys have come in with, you have given me some great songs to listen to. And it really genuinely feels like every song that this band does is a killer tune. Of course, the band is Rush, and the song that is at number 1 for my top 10 songs of 2020 is 2112. Very nearly said 2112. 2112 is the song that has stuck with me the most this year, just purely because of the storytelling that was associated with the song, the amazing musicianship, and then the context that came after it. And some of you might say, well, you know what, you watched the comic book version of the video, which gave you a lot of tips as to the story. And yes, I do bear that in mind when I come up with this. But honestly, even if you take that away, everything is perfect about that song. You've got Geddy singing in different voices to represent different characters. The whole story, the chapters, the discovery section is immense. You know, you can physically feel the person picking up a guitar and going, what is this? I have to share this music. Ultimately, it gets rejected by the temples of Syrinx, and then he goes away and what I feel, he commits suicide because there's nothing left for him. And then the elders come, they take over, they have control, and the end of the story. Now, what added this for me was the comments that came afterwards. The little tiny things that they included in that song that just little Easter eggs in there. So something like the final phrase that Neil Peart says, we have assumed control, or something like that. I think it's the number of words or the number of letters ties into 2112. So I think the first line has 21 letters, the second line has 12. I think that was it. You know, we've got the syrinx being the vocal box of a bird, if you like. I thought that was a nice little inclusion in there. But the thing that gets me is the context as to why they wrote that song. Basically, I think they'd written their second album and it was a little bit of a flop. And the record company said to them, you know, you need to go back to writing radio hits. You know, we can't have another flop. And they came back as a big stick it to the man and came back with 2112. And the story being about priests telling the guy that he has to subdue the music that he's just found, and eventually those priests getting toppled by the elders, and what that represents with the record companies telling them they had to subdue their music. I just can imagine the faces of the record company when they handed that. That's a CD. Probably wasn't even CDs back then, but when they handed that music over to them, I wonder even if the record company got what they were trying to say. Probably not, but whatever, it worked. And yeah, we've got this fantastic band. It is one of their greatest songs. It is fantastic. I absolutely love the different aspects to the music. I love everything about it. And 2112, not 2112, is my favourite song of this year by far. So that was my top 10 songs of this year. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope I've been able to explain a little bit about why I enjoyed each song and I've justified their position in the chart that I've given them. Now, some of these songs were months and months and months ago, so it would have been a long time since you guys saw these videos. So I thought it was a really nice opportunity to relive some fantastic moments this year, to celebrate the creation of NorthernEar, to celebrate all the fantastic music that I've heard, and to thank you guys personally for leading me in the right direction as far as the music's concerned this year, giving me all your little bits of information, giving me everything that you think will help me out, and for basically helping to let this channel grow. Like I said at the very start, this channel's only been open for 10 months. We've got over 1 million views, nearly 300 videos, going on for 10,000 subscribers. I think we're on about 9,300. So it would be really interesting to see where the channel is next new year. So I hope you've enjoyed spending some time with me this year. I hope you've enjoyed the reactions. Please get involved in the comments section. Let me know what you'd like to see for 2021. Is there something new that you'd like to see? Something different? A move away from music? An inclusion of other things? Let me know. I'm open to suggestions, as you should all know by now. And basically just thank you very much for your support. It really, really means a lot. Have a happy new year, and I'll see you again in 2021. Take care, guys. Goodbye.